Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging into one of the most fascinating and sometimes pretty heated discussions in India. That's the national language question. Our main goal today really is to unpack this. Should Hindi be the sole national language? Or does India's real strength actually lie in embracing its, well, astonishing linguistic diversity?
It's a huge topic, isn't it? And it runs so deep. We're not just talking about, how people talk to each other. It pulls in identity, politics, culture, national unity itself. It really gets to the heart of what it means to be such an incredibly diverse nation.
Absolutely. And when you think about the scale, India's home to over 1.4 billion people. And get this, more than 19,000 languages and dialects. I mean, just try to wrap your head around that. 19,000 ways of speaking. Now, out of all those, 22 are officially recognized in the Constitution. But you see Hindi everywhere, don't you? Headlines, signs, movies, government communications. It often feels like the main one. So the big question we're tackling is, well, is this dominance accepted by everyone? Or maybe should it even be this way?
And that's such a crucial point, because language isn't just words. It shapes how we think, how we connect, our identity. So when one language seems like it's being pushed or prioritized over others, well, that naturally creates tension, doesn't it? Friction between communities. It can feel less like unity and more like, something being forced on people.
Something really jumped out at me when I was prepping for this, a fact that kind of reshaped how I saw the whole thing. Despite what many people think, India actually officially does not have a single national language. That's a massive distinction,
Yeah.
right? And it's pretty much the foundation of this whole debate.
You're absolutely right. That's the legal reality. Hindi and English function as official languages for the central government, but no single language gets the title national language. The Constitution, quite wisely, I think, gives individual states the power to choose their own official languages. And that's led to this vibrant mosaic, a patchwork, really, of language governance across the country.
Okay, so legally, no national language. But in day-to-day life, Hindi often acts like one, wouldn't you say? Especially in North India, you see it in central government exams, national TV broadcasts. There's this definite gap between how things are perceived and the actual legal status.
Yeah, and if we look back historically, just after independence, there was a real push to unite the country. A common language was seen as key for that. And Hindi, because it was spoken by a large number of people, especially in the North, seemed like, a natural choice to many at the time.
But that idea met with some serious resistance almost immediately, didn't it? I mean, huge opposition, particularly from states in the South and the Northeast. You just have to look at the massive protests in Tamil Nadu back in 1965 against making Hindi mandatory. Those were really significant events. They shaped what happened next.
They absolutely did. And the government, faced with such strong resistance, essentially backed down. They decided to allow English to continue as a co-official language alongside Hindi. The idea, I suppose, was to use both, let things evolve. But even with that, Hindi's influence has definitely grown over the decades. Bollywood's reach is huge, plus media, apps, advertising. It all adds up.
That history really shows the power people have when defending their languages. And if we shift from that history to what makes India so unique today, it's going to be that incredible mix of languages, right? You've got Bengali, Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, Assamese. I mean, the list goes on, each carrying centuries of its own culture, literature, history. Just amazing richness.
It's striking just how deep that connection between language and identity goes. If you try to force a single language, you risk losing all those distinct cultural identities. It's like, imagine telling someone who speaks Canada that their language, the language of their parents, their history, their stories, is somehow less Indian than Hindi. That isn't unity. That's pushing for uniformity. Language is so emotional. It connects you to your roots, your family, your heritage.
Right. So when communities stand up for their regional languages, it's not really about resisting progress or being divisive. It feels more like a powerful act of protecting heritage, protecting who they are.
And this inevitably brings in the political side of things. Language is political. Policies that seem to favor Hindi-speaking regions can create very real inequalities. Think about it. If the main government job exams are mostly in Hindi, people from non-Hindi speaking areas are immediately at a disadvantage, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like asking everyone to run the same race, but giving some people running spikes and others, I don't know, flip-flops. I mean, if you grew up speaking Tamil or Bengali, and your career prospects depend on acing a Hindi exam, that's not just a language hurdle. It challenges the whole idea of fair play, doesn't it? Equal opportunity has to mean linguistic fairness, too.
Exactly. And you definitely see language used as a political tool sometimes. Some parties might use it to stir up regional pride or maybe even create divisions. That's why it's such a sensitive topic. It touches on votes, identity, and, ultimately, how the country holds together.
And we see this playing out. Tamil Nadu, for example, has consistently been a strong voice against what they see as Hindi imposition. They have that powerful slogan, Engal Moji, Engal Urimai, which means our language, our right. It's very clear.
That's a great example. And think about Northeast India, too. States like Nagaland or Mizoram, their official state languages are completely different from Hindi. They rely heavily on English for education and administration. So for many in those regions, any push for Hindi feels less like integration and more like, well, an intrusion. It just highlights the delicate balance needed, respecting regional identity while still fostering a national connection.
And there's some interesting data on this. A recent Pew Research survey, they're usually quite thorough, found something quite telling. While lots of Indians speak more than one language, less than 45% actually consider Hindi their first language, their mother tongue.
That figure is really illuminating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Less than 45%. Flip that around, it means nearly 60% of India does not speak Hindi as their first language. So pushing Hindi as the national language, well, it effectively overlooks the linguistic reality for the majority of the population.
Yeah, it seems like people are generally okay with learning other languages. Bilingualism, even multilingualism is common, but what they seem to really want is respect for their own language, their choice, not something dictated from the top down.
I think that's a key insight. India's strength, its resilience, really comes from accepting its huge diversity. Unity that comes from acceptance, not from forced assimilation. That seems to be where the real power lies.
So wrapping this up, where does that leave us? It feels like Hindi is and always will be a really important part of India's identity, a vital thread. But it's not the only thread, and maybe, crucially, it shouldn't be positioned as the only one.
Exactly. Embracing all that linguistic diversity isn't a weakness for India. It's arguably its greatest strength. And the ideal, perhaps, is an India where every language has the space to thrive, where every single voice can be heard.
A nation of 1.4 billion people. It definitely deserves more than just one voice, doesn't it? It deserves that rich, vibrant chorus of languages and cultures.
Absolutely. And maybe that's something for you, the listener, to think about the importance of linguistic diversity, maybe in your own community or just globally.
Keep exploring that rich tapestry. Stay curious.